Hello, everybody. I'm back, and finally, we get to the video part 6 of the analysis of the character Lelouch. This would be the last video that will analyze on Lelouch, and on my next video, I will move on to analyzing the character Suzaku. So now I would like to share my screen. All right. So now I would like to continue from my part 5 video is that I would like to talk about the event of defeating the king. So good news is that Lelouch will definitely get to defeat the king. So however, he has to go through quite a process right here. Is that first of all, let's see if the picture can help us. Right. So as you see here, so I would like to introduce, maybe you guys have already seen King Charles. I'm not sure if you have seen him before. Maybe I've analyzed and probably shared his picture, but this is King Charles, Lelouch's father, and this is Queen Marianne, the assassinated queen. And she is also Lelouch's mother. So, so the story started with Lelouch decided to confront his father by trapping them both in the sea's world. So Lelouch basically after Rollo's death, right? He vowed to defeat King Charles, and he he met with King Charles at Camine Island. And basically, he just walked straight through the portal that led to C's world and destroyed the portal with the intention of trapping both King Charles and himself in there. So during the time when they were trapped in there, mm, Lelouch got to meet his mother again, Queen Marianne. And actually, they told him the truth. His parents told him the truth that all all this time through the entire series, King Charles have been trying to create a world where there is kind of like a merge between the sea's world. So, the sea's world is like a collection of thoughts. So basically, you can imagine as after somebody passes away, their soul and their thoughts will come to C's world. At least that's what I think. That's what I believe to be. So it's like the world of the dead, kind of like that. And what King Charles wants is to merge the world of the dead and the living world. So you can kind of imagine like in that combination of a world, the so we're living bodies, right? We have cells, we're an organism, and then when we got merged into the seas world, we will lose our body. Only our memories exist. And we'll just become like what we saw in the seas world, right? We'll just become like pictures that are hang onto the wall and stuff. Here, so we're gonna become like this. So basically, the pictures, this is the sea world, and in the sea world, it's like a museum. So all of the memories are kind of kept into pictures and frames like this, and we're just gonna exist like that. If King Charles were to be established, that's what he's aiming for. But obviously, Lelouch is not gonna allow that to happen, and he rejected, Lelouch rejected his father's attempt to merge the living world and the sea's world together. So, unlike his parents who wanted to create a world where the dead and the living live together like that, like pictures on the wall. Um, he chose to live in the current world. So the thing here is that King Charles he wanted to create the combination of two worlds in order to avoid having lies. So he really hates King Charles. He used to live in a world where people betray each other, people lie to each other, kill each other to get more power, right? So he wants to create a world where that doesn't happen. So no betrayal, no lies, everything is like clear, like you cannot hide your thoughts at all. You cannot hide your intentions. That is the word King Charles wants. But the problem here, Lelouch objected his argument, his ideology, with two arguments. The first argument is that King Charles and Queen Marianne, they abandoned Lelouch and Nineveh. And basically, they argue a lot. King Charles and Lelouch, they argue a lot in that episode of the series. So I couldn't list all of the argument out here, but for sure, Lelouch was able to accuse their parents of abandoning him and his sister. That's the first thing. The second thing was that King Charles, like um he wants to create a world where there is no lie, right? But Lelouch, he wants to create a world that Nunnally can live happily, right? And the world that Nunnally wants is where even strangers can act nicely with towards each other. And in order, in our real world, how can we act nice towards each other? We have to hide our true self, right? So probably the first time you meet someone, you don't know them, maybe you even hate them, but the reason why we can act nicely towards them is because we pretend to act nicely to them. But that doesn't mean that it's bad, right? Sometimes lies can help prevent people from getting hurt or even prevent people from killing themselves or basically making it also helps as well. So not all lies are bad. And the fact that King Charles want to push his ideology onto other people is also something that is wrong in a way. So that's what Lelouch wanted to say. Yeah. So this is my paragraph sharing, and yeah, thanks to lies, even strangers can get along with each other. Just like the world is made of not only bad things, but also good things. And sometimes there are gray areas like the white lies. So sometimes the world cannot be black and white, right? Sometimes you have to avoid saying the truth, or you have to say a lie. Because sometimes, for example, like Suzaku, right? He works for the army and he has a lot of secret to hide. He cannot share all of that to his student council friend, right? It's the same for Lelouch. Lelouch, he has to pretend to be zero. He has to uh lie. He has to hide his identity and his Geass power from everybody in order to carry out his dream, his plans, right? So, and of course, not only Suzaku and Lelouch hide their true intentions, we ourselves also hide our true intentions. We just don't go out to society and tell society everything we think, right? We don't go out and tell what is on our mind. Most of us would hide our true intentions. And King Charles doesn't want that world. He wants a world where everything is displayed and it's like walking into the museum and everyone cannot hide their thoughts. So I'm not sure if that world is going to be better than the current world, but of course Lelouch objects to King Charles' ideology. Um, okay, and the lies also, the world, uh sometimes there, for example, in the Zero Requiem. So Zero Requiem is the last event of the series that I will be addressing later on. But Lelouch, he made a huge lie. Like he lied about the zero identity, he hid his face, and he also pretended to take over the world. So Zero Requiem is when Lelouch he became Britannia's king, and he also has all of the power in his hand, just so that he will sacrifice his life in order to, you know, if the king of Britannia dies, right? And then there's nobody who takes the next position to be king, then Britannia will fall apart. Or maybe somebody else who is better, who has a good ideology, would take the throne, and the world will become happier. So basically, the goal here is Lelouch, in Zero Requiem, he would make a lie, right? He would lie to the world that he is a very scary king with a lot of power, and he will create a dictatorship if nobody is able to fight against him, or he if they fight against him, he will use the geese to control their mind. But that is just a lie in order for him to give freedom back to everyone. So that is a very huge lie right there, but obviously it's for the benefit of more people, right? And how and Lelouch defeated his father. Basically, he used his geese power to to stop the process of merging the two worlds. So basically, because of this, his power also increased, and he succeeded. Basically, it's very crazy, and I don't think I can demonstrate very well in my video, but basically, Lelouch was able to stop his father from merging the two worlds together, and um because both the reality doesn't accept the combination between the seas world and the living world, so the king and the queen disappeared. And yay, now that the King Charles no longer lives anymore, Lelouch comes to Britannia to claim the throne. Yeah, so Lelouch here, he's on live right now. He just sit on the throne and say that I just killed King Charles already, so now I will become the new king, which is supposedly very correct because that's exactly what King Charles wants. And but still, like many of the royal siblings of many of the nobles rejected this. But when they told the guards to arrest Lelouch, Suzaku appeared and protect him. So now Suzaku and Lelouch collaborated in order to create a new world, right? Now this is just the beginning of Zero Requiem. And the funny thing that I realized is that King Charles, he said that he wanted to create a world that is equal, right? Without lies, with that betrayal, but is he himself also has a lot of flaws in his ideology. So he also got affected by the old, like by the traditional thinking, is that he he told his people to fight each other for more power, right? And the strong will oppress the weak. So how can you expect someone like that to bring a better world for other people, right? So if we're trying to be critical here, we'll have to look at a lot of aspects of and we need to say that that maybe the world without lies also has his good points, but but the thing here is that but the thing here is that we also need to listen to other people's opinions as well. And that is what Lelouch learned. The reason why he objects his father ideology is because he's been living and experiencing life with so many people, and he came to understand that people really want to seek something, right? They have their own dreams, they have their purpose, and they have to lie in order to live with strangers, right? To live peacefully. Uh, and because Lelouch understand that, he decided to object his father's point of view. And I really suggest everyone is that even Lelouch has a lot of power. He's the main character. I really advise against always thinking that Lelouch did the right thing. So usually we would be stuck in the bias that the main character is always someone who is a hero who did the right thing, and whatever his choice is the right decision. But I think that maybe in this series, what Lelouch did is kind of like correct. His choice is right. But in any other kind of movies, we also need to like maintain like an open mind. That way we can always like make room for more objective points of view. Sorry, I'm going sideways a little bit, but it is my own opinion for watching anime, movies, any sort of entertainment that might be useful for everyone. And funny enough, that is also my bias. So you can choose to listen to me or not. All right. Let's see. Um, yeah, so one of Lelouch's quote is everyone uses lies to family, to friends, to society. Everyone has a different face. But is that a sin? What is one's true face? Right? And Lelouch finally understood that I fought to protect everything I thought I wanted to protect. So what does he protect? He protects his sister, he protects his ideology, he protects the Black Knights. Basically, he protects what he wants to protect. Yeah. So you both put such a priority on the plane that it didn't matter if we were alive or dead. So Lelouch was talking about his parents neglecting his sister and himself. Yeah, the world Nunali wants is one where even strangers can be kind to each other. And what I want is the future. So we can say that King Charles he wants to like he got stuck in the past, right? He was obsessed with the fact that people betray him, people tell lies to him. He doesn't like that. That's why he wants to create a world where lies cannot exist, right? But with Lelouch, he wants to go towards the future where time would keep flowing, right? If King Charles was able to create his world, then time probably stops. Or maybe it's just like a recording or something. Like, people's thoughts will be put onto the picture and time will probably flow, but it's just collection of thoughts, right? I would imagine that world would be no time. There would be no time at all. Time would stand still. and everybody is just like a collection of dots. All right. So in this event, some people got under Lelouch's keys. The first one is the army who guarded the Shikine Island, ordered to protect Lelouch and his royal siblings and the nobles. So basically, when he and Suzaku claim the throne, uh, as I've said before, the royal siblings and the nobles object, and basically Lelouch just used his geese to tell them to acknowledge him as the new king. So that is part of Zero Requiem there. He's going to make people listen to him and make him the king. So that's kind of like pretending to be the bad guy kind of act. So I'm just gonna check my paragraph to see if I missed anything. Right. Okay. So now I will move on to the last event of the series, which is Zero Requiem. So, so his final plan was to create a dictatorship in order to make enemy of the world and seize all power in his hand. So basically, he plans to concentrate all the powers in his hands and then make the enemy out of the world, right? So become a scary king so that people will hate him. So all of the hatred will concentrate onto him. And when he's dead, people will get along with each other. So to to imagine that idea actually works, right? I don't think it's too much of a perfect idea, but I don't know, maybe in this universe it works. So let's see. There you go. So this is Lelouch with, yeah, this is like a map, and suppose that it was supposed to be in blue first, but now it turns purple. It means that the entire world kind of belongs to him now. So how did we even get to this point, right? So so Lelouch decided to create a dictatorship because he wanted to make the entire world hate him. That's the reason why he came up with the idea of dictatorship. And upon knowing that Nunnally was still alive, so basically Snizel, right? He's very smart, and he kind of kept Nunnally alive after the fight at the Tokyo settlement. So remember the fight here, this one. So we all thought, no, not we all thought, Lelouch thought that after the atomic bomb, Suzaku fired the atomic bomb to save himself, right? And basically, it destroyed a huge part of the Tokyo settlement. And Lelouch thought that Nunnally died because of this bomb. But no, she survived. And what happened was that Snizel already planned to keep her alive to prepare for the fight against Lelouch. So, basically, Nunnally is kind of made use of for this, but she herself also wanted to fight against Lelouch. So, upon knowing that Nunnally was alive, and she also wanted to stop Zero, Lelouch has to force himself to act coldly towards his sister. So that had to take a lot of courage, and uh And basically, after knowing this, Lelouch actually broke down a little bit, and Suzaku and CC had to encourage him. Like, we have to keep going on the plan. Even if Nunnally is alive, we still have to carry out the Zero Requiem. So basically, it means that even your sister is still alive, you should know that you still have to fight against her. And even if it means to kill her in order to achieve peace, right? And Lelouch has come to agreement is that he will definitely fight against his sister because now he fights for a lot of people now. He doesn't only fight for his sister anymore. All right. And so that kind of mindset signifies that Lelouch has definitely grown up a lot after after his long experience with so many people, so many incidents, and he finally came to realize that. All right. So basically, there was a huge fight between Lelouch army and Snizel's army. So Snizel also collaborated with the Black Knights and also the Chinese army because they kind of like working together now in order to fight against Lelouch. So the fight will be between Britannia, Lelouch from Britannia, and then Snizel, and then the Chinese army and the Black Knights. So it's like three against one, right? And even if that's the case, Lelouch still managed to win. And uh, and when Lelouch had to sacrifice his soldiers during the fight, Ninale also used the atomic bomb, which caused heavy damages, showing how deadly the war could be. So, so Snizel, he was able to he and his army was able to create the atomic bomb, right? And he kind of wants to use the bomb during the fight with Lelouch, and Nunnally volunteered to be the one who holds the switch for the bomb because she wants to bear the responsibility of the one causing the death. Uh, but uh, but well, I guess fortunately, Lelouch was able to win and and defeat Snizel. So it's actually a good thing because Snizel actually wants to use the atomic bomb as a weapon to create fear towards the entire world. He wants to control the world by using the atomic bomb. But Lelouch, he was able to stop that scheme, and it's funny that Snizel he thought that the world is just full of greed. So all of the problems that cause is because of the humans' greed. But Lelouch actually believed that human can have a future because many people seek happiness, and then they will always fight for something that is better than the present. So King Charles, he was obsessed with the past. Snizel, he is obsessed with like he got stuck in the present because he thinks that humans cannot get better in the future. But Lelouch, he believes that people can get better in the future. Yeah. So it's funny because Nunali is just like Lelouch, right? Like brother, like sister. So Nunali also wanted to turn the world's hatred towards zero to the atomic bomb. So she wants to kind of erase Zero's sin by using the atomic bomb so that all the hatred will focus on her and the bomb instead of Lelouch. Uh, so, and yes, in the end, Lelouch was able to take over the world. He defeated Snizel, and after taking over the world, he came up with a plan with Suzaku, right? So, now that he has the throne of Britannia, also has the atomic bomb that Snizel has. People would fear him a lot, right? And and he's also carrying out a dictatorship. So it's like every negative things focus on Lelouch. And and after a period of time, he and Lelouch, Lelouch and Suzaku came came to an agreement about the plan that Lelouch will go on a parade on the street, and then Suzaku will dress as Zero and came out to kill Lelouch. So that was the purpose of Zero Requiem. It is to eliminate the world's hatred. So just like create a common enemy in order to in order to unite the entire world. So that was the that was the whole point of the series. So so the series, I suppose, even Lelouch sacrificed himself. You know, we have a happy ending here. So this is a picture of the leader of the Black Knights and a Japanese, Ogi, and he finally got married to a Britannian soldier, Villetta. So in this picture, you see like both the Britannians people and both the Japanese and even people from all over the world, right? So there's Rakshata from India, and there's a Chinese princess, and over here is Cornelia, Princess Cornelia, and they had a very happy wedding together, right? It seems like the world is become peaceful. At least that is what we believe the story turns out to be, right? There are still a lot of problems that needs to be solved. According to the last episode, it said that there are still remaining problems, but obviously were able to get along together, and you know there was no more extreme ideology like from King Charles anymore. So supposedly it's a happy ending. And as for, I wonder if there's anything here that I can say. Oh, right. As plain, uh, as plain, the world's hatred is focused on me. All that remains is to get rid of me and break the chain of hatred. All right. And Geass is like a wish, isn't it? It's a request to someone to give you the power to achieve what you can't on your own. So yeah, I also agree with this. It's like Geass power is like a supernatural power that is given to you so that you can achieve something, right? It's kind of like granting a wish. And Lelouch is going to cast the Geass call a wish on people for the future of the world. It's kind of funny. It's like he's saying that he will be the one giving people a wish, right? For the future of the world. It's very meaningful. Oh yeah, and this then shall be your punishment. You will live on wearing that mask as the Knight of Justice. This is what he said to Suzaku. is that Suzaku he will have to live as zero for the rest of his life because the real Suzaku was already assumed to be dead because of the war. And that is part of Zero Requiem plan. And later Suzaku became Zero, and he has to be Zero for the rest of his life, and he has to fight for justice, just like his own ideology from the start of the series. So I will be diving into Suzaku later, but that is let's see. Some people got under the Geass as well. So all of the soldiers of Britannia was ordered to become Lelouch's slave. Snizel, after he lost the fight, he was also ordered to follow Lelouch. So he also ordered by the Geass, right? And Nunnally was ordered to give Lelouch the switch to the atomic bomb. So see, now he even used Geass on his own sister. So many people would just got caught up on the series, right? They will probably ask like, oh, if Lelouch doesn't have the Geass power, how is he going to liberate Japan, right? And how is he going to fight his own father, who also has Geass power, right? But the thing here is that you also need to put yourself into the shoes of the person, the victim of the Geass power. So that is the interesting part of this anime, is that you kind of have to look back and reflect on the true nature of Geass power, especially Lelouch's Geass power, because it's kind of related to humans' right. Yeah. So even though the situation, the context of the anime kind of proves that the Geass power is necessary, but that doesn't mean that you can just use the Geass to control people without understanding the responsibility behind it. All right, and deathless, we have Dieter died by Snizel gunshot. And Lelouch was stabbed by Suzaku, who dressed as Zero. So yeah, after I finished watching the series and I saw the scene of Lelouch get stabbed by Suzaku, I found it very, very daunting, very sad, very heart-wrenching. But but because it has too many things that I want to do. I After I saw the ending, I hope that maybe this is not true. Maybe actually he's still alive, and that there is also Zero Resurrection, right? I think I watched Zero Resurrection for like 5 times in a day or something because I can't get enough of it. I still want Lelouch to be alive. And then in order to get over this feeling, I actually analyze him and also analyze Suzaku in order to see if Lelouch's death was justified. And after the analysis, I think his death means a lot. It doesn't just stop as being justified anymore. Lelouch's death is very necessary and it is very meaningful. And even after his death, many people will remember him. Not just at least for us viewers, people who watch the anime and people who actually knew Zero and Lelouch, I'm pretty sure he will also stay in many people's heart, even after he's dead. So, I suppose this is the end for my analysis of the table, of course. I still have some part here in the paragraph. So let's see. All right, so I would like to come to the summary for a little bit. So so if you kind of look at Lelouch again, there's a very big theme here, right? The theme is uh, evil and goodness both existed in Lelouch. And the good thing about him is his love for his sister, his care for the student council friends, his feeling of responsibility for committing evil action. And the bad parts of him were killing and manipulating people, focusing too much on achieving results, prioritizing his sister over many others' lives, and etc. But but it's just life, right? It's not just black and white. There's a gray area, and there is no such thing as a perfect human because first society changes over time. The values of good and bad also change, and of course, nobody can can always act according to the law or the rules, right? For it's just like asking a question, have you ever told a lie before? Right? I'm pretty sure there are people out there who have never committed something like rude behavior or wrong behavior or what's not. But what is a wrong behavior, right? So in order to decide whether it's good or bad, we have to have a bigger view on the surrounding, right? On the context, on society, on politics, on the law. So so Code Geass is kind of also like that. So they address the matter, what is justice, what is good, what is bad, and what and they also address the bigger context. All right. And there's a lot to be said here. And also another theme was that uh it's like Nunali and Suzaku, so they kind of represent the good part of the world, right? But however, if you only have the ideology and you don't act on it, then it won't come true, right? At least in the Code Geass world, where King Charles, he said that the strong can oppress the weak, right? So if Nunali and Suzaku they have good intentions, but if they if they don't fight for their ideologies, they are too weak, then how can they achieve their good intentions, right? So that is where Lelouch came into the picture. So he had the power of Geass, and his evil actions could help advance the plan of going against Britannia. So the problem here is that um, there are many ways. If it's not in this series, we can always think of other situations, right? We can use Lelouch power in many different ways instead of, killing, destroying, and destruction. But because the series decided that Lelouch would use his geese and use evil to fight the bigger evil, right? And it's also very hard to avoid war, especially in such a sensitive context as in Britannia, where there's a huge discrimination between the strong and the weak. So because of that, war might not be able to avoid. Yeah, so it's debatable that Lelouch could possibly take a different course of actions to minimize death, but in the series, he chose to destroy the enemies, which resulted in him becoming the symbol of evil. But being evil here is just like on the surface. Behind the surface, there's still so many layers about Lelouch. He's not just pure evil like that. He also has a reason for his action. Mm. Okay. So this I'm probably going to read a few parts. So Lelouch, he is seen to grow a lot throughout the series. So he started from a normal student who acted ignorant towards life, then turned into a powerful Geass user, and Zero, who led the Black Knights to fight the Britannia. At first, Lelouch only focused on his own goals, and basically he only cares about his sister. But during the process, he learned how to work with others like the Black Knights and the Kyoto sector, the Chinese Federation. And because because of his care towards his sister, he betrayed the Black Knights twice by prioritizing his sister's safety, resulting in the fact that he lost trust. He in the Black Knights losing trust in Zero. Uh, However, this part can also it can also be seen as one of the most humane part of Zero. Is because he's still a teenager who was growing and went through hardship to manage his feelings. So basically, he's just in high school, right? And I think that being able to be super intelligent and understanding the politics and establishing the Black Knights was beyond the power of a normal high school student already. Not only that, he has to care about his sister. So that's why I think his care for Nunnally was one of his most humane parts. However, the feeling part is also the enemy, the enemy to success as well, right? Because sometimes you have to have a very cold head in order to successfully carry out something. But what can we do, right? We're humans. And and he's still in the process of managing his feelings. Like he broke down and felt responsible for causing Shirley's father and Euphemia's death. And he let Karen choose to quit the Black Knights by warning her about the tough path ahead and feeling responsible for erasing Shirley's memories. So basically, as I have analyzed throughout the series, the good and the bad parts of Lelouch always kind of appeared parallel. It's not parallel, but sometimes he showed the good part of him after he did something bad, or maybe he showed his goodness by feeling aware that he's doing something bad. Yeah. So it's kind of like the good and the bad going hand in hand, kind of like that. Yeah, and after experience the whole journey of fighting against Britannia, he decided to head towards the future and believed that people would seek happiness instead of just being greedy. Actually, it's funny because seeking happiness also means greed in a way, as long as you want something, right? But sometimes being greedy or not is also like an image that you put in onto someone, right? So how can you, if you're hungry, then you would want to eat something, right? But if you eat too much and you don't care about the other people, then you are greedy, right? So basically, greedy is a term that applies when there are other people around, right? So if you just eat for the sake of yourself and there's nobody around, then you just eat because you need to eat, right? So, so that's also another point that I might want to share. This is very funny because humans, we just make stuff very complicated. And in the end, with a good intention for his sister as the core of motivation, Lelouch struggled on his path of destruction to create a better world. So, so yeah, with the core, with a good intention, who wants to bring happiness to his sister, he Lelouch struggled on his path of destruction to create a better world. So that is the direction that the series want to go, right? They want to create the image of Lelouch, of someone who has to go through so much hardship in order to create something very meaningful. But remember, that is what the series wants Lelouch to do. If I were to be a writer myself, I wouldn't put Lelouch through so much trouble. I would I would probably choose a better context for him so that he doesn't have to go through so much pain. But but the thing here is that because Lelouch has to go through so much, he has to die, he has been very lonely, all of those things build up a very amazing person as well, right? And yet, that is also an opinion. I myself, after watching this series, I I really think Lelouch can, can be in another dimension, right? And in that dimension, he would have a better life. He doesn't have to die, and he still can save the world. Maybe have a great time ruling the world with Suzaku or something. It's gonna be a democracy, and everybody has happiness and whatever. Basically, there's so many possibilities, and Lelouch can always be happy, right? Oh, right. And as for the gaze power, oh, there's also the slide. This is like the summary slide. So in this picture, we see that Lelouch dressed in black and while Suzuki dressed in white. So kind of like symbolizing the the dark and the light, the good and the bad. And they kind of go hand in hand. And the problem here is like Lelouch has the wings as well, the wings of an angel, and Suzaku has the wings of a devil. So the problem here, you will definitely see that even Suzaku, who who is who is a nice person, also did something kind of thought to be evil or greedy as well. At least not as evil as Lelouch, but he also did something that is not good as well. And that is like the theme, right? The theme of evil and goodness. And Probably now I would like to address the last problem, which is the Geass power. So this is the symbol of the Geass power. You will probably see it in the eyes or as like a tattoo on any Geass users. And it could be understood that the Geass power that Lelouch has, so it is the power of absolute obedience, would challenge the matter of human rights. So, so as I have shared before, the Geass power itself isn't a weapon. It is not, I mean, I think anything, any object, any, any, ob, any existence in the world is not exactly a weapon if we know how to use it properly. However, Lelouch used the power for many purposes, from killing his enemies, making making the enemies and strangers assist his plans, to unimportant matters. But it's also important to notice that Lelouch never used the geese to force his allies or allies to follow him unwillingly. So that's a good part about him, right? But however, he used the geese and make the enemies follow him, right? So that is still the problem of human rights. And in Britannia's world where the strong oppress the weak, so you need kind of like some kind of power, superpower, like the geese in order to fight against the entire system. And you can even reduce death significantly. You know, if you can steer the series going that way. But Lelouch, he actually used the geese to kill a lot of people too, because he chose the path of bloodshed. And geese also challenged the problem of power balance. So since Lelouch used geese to smooth out his plan too much, um, the Black Knights relied on him, and whenever, for example, when he left them to save Nunnally, they also failed in their mission as well. So that is, and because he, and not only his army relied on him too much, it also caused unwanted consequences. For example, when he used his keys he and the power went uncontrollable, he he unintentionally used it on Euphemia, remember? And it led to a massacre. So that was a tragedy, and obviously it was because of Lelouch overusing his power too much. So that is also the price for for overusing the key's power. And however, fortunately, unlike King Charles, who used geese to control people for his own benefit, Lelouch was aware of his use of geese and felt responsible for his actions. So this is exactly why Lelouch has to die. It is because the geese power was already just what is unquestionable, right? It's a dilemma. And it's just like it's just like talking about murder. So, for example, somebody kills my friend, right? And I decided to find the killer and then kill him or her in order to avenge my friend. Then, then is that act of murder that I kill the murderer is justified, right? it's kind of like that. So basically, Lelouch used the geese on people, right? Like at the beginning, he used the geese to defend himself, right? So some of the guards want to kill him for an unreasonable excuse. Then yes, Lelouch can use the geese to defend himself, and we all agree that it's acceptable, right? But um, but when Lelouch he used geese to kill the people in the underground city, do you think that is justified, right? And also he also used people in his plan. Some people he even killed with his own hands. He didn't even use the geese power to kill them. So so from this you can from this part of analysis I can say that uh the justice is something very questionable. The same goes for good and bad. So I think that is the end of my analysis of Lelouch. So basically after I finished the table analysis, I've seen that the list of people under the list of the victim under the Geass power has increased, and the deaths also increased too. So because of that, I can see clearly that Lelouch also used his power for evil actions. So that's the reason why I have come to terms that Lelouch probably Lelouch's death is probably justified as well. And hopefully after my analysis of Lelouch, I hope that for everyone, especially those who feel very sad about Lelouch's death, I hope you guys can feel better, and hopefully we will come to meet more characters and more amazing anime series that are also like this amazing series as well that is called Geass. And uh, that is the end of my analysis of Lelouch. It was a great journey for me, and next time I will analyze about Suzaku. So thank you very much for following me and watch my videos until now, and see you guys on my next recording.